Hello and welcome to NerdVsWorld, episode 45, Big Trouble in Little Nerd. I'm Brendan.
I'm Spindles.
And I'm Little Nerd.
Here,
Yeah.
little nerd.
So we've got a hell of a lot to pack into this episode. We've got reviews of all the cons we've been doing recently. So that's Lawgiver MkII, MCM Expo and the UK Games Expo. There's also Spindles gushing wildly about the wonderful Amanda Palmer to look forward to. And then, as promised, a roundup and recap of the season finales from the TV season just finished.
Holy shit, it's been
Yeah,
busy.
it's been a busy couple of weeks.
I cannot believe how much we've managed to pack in the 2 weeks since we were last sat here.
I started a solo podcast to try and take some of the weight off it, but we've been too busy.
It's craziness.
It's been so crazy, which is awesome.
It
very,
is
very
awesome.
cool.
It's very tiring, but utterly awesome.
We're all running on coffee and hot chocolate at the moment, trying to just keep going.
Hells yes. Okay, do you want to kick off with UK Games?
Oh god, yes, let's do it. So, UK Games Expo was just the most fantastic 3 days of board gaming and geeking out that I've ever experienced. I wasn't sure what to expect.
I've never done one, so
yeah.
again, it's
No.
So I didn't know what to expect. So in that regard, I suppose the bar for my expectations was set pretty low. I was going along to play in the Catan Championships on the Saturday, but bought an extended pass for the entire weekend. And found that I was pushing myself out of my normal boundaries of sort of reservations. I met loads of really cool people. I played loads of really cool games. I've got Lords of War in the studio.
Lords of War.
Lords of War. I was teaching a few people that before we started the show. Played a game called Legendary Encounters Alien, which is basically a cooperative deck building game.
Is that like the Marvel Legendary?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's alien.
Awesome.
So yeah. So you're going against the aliens in different scenarios. We played essentially Alien as was our scenario. So
So the crew of the Nostromo.
Yeah, discover the SOS, discover the ventilation shaft, and then
Spend the
exterminate.
rest of it running away from the alien.
Yeah. The game mechanic of it is really cool. So you've got like 5 zones, which the hive cards are placed into face down. Those are all going to be aliens or events. Then you have a combat zone, and every turn the cards push along one until they get to the combat zone and they fight.
Right.
And
So in the same way that Legendary's deck building, that you choose cards and discard them, and then you build up what is essentially your deck to fight the alien. Yeah. Okay.
And they have the facehugger card. So if the facehugger hits you, you have to kill it in your turn, or the next person has to kill it. If they don't, it falls off dead, having infected you.
Yeah.
The chest burster card is then added to your discard pile.
Right.
Which is where you add all your cards once
yeah.
you've played them. And then when you shuffle to redraw, there's always a chance that you can draw the chest burster
And
card.
it'll
Kill you instantly. And the first player to die becomes the alien.
Okay.
So they get all the alien discards as their deck.
Okay, sweet.
So we played 2 games of that. We lost both of them, but it's like Pandemic in that sometimes you have more fun losing the game.
Well, see, I mean, I think the whole concept of the co-op games is brilliant. It's something that I hadn't been introduced to until a couple of years ago. The idea that you can play a board game and all of you can lose.
Yeah.
It's a very, very odd concept that until you've done it once, you're like, well, why bother playing? It's like, but no, you've got to do it because it's awesome.
But that's become some of my favourite games now. Betrayal at the House on the Hill, Pandemic,
Yeah, I think it was
Eldritch Horror.
Forbidden Island?
Yeah, and Forbidden Desert. Forbidden Desert as well.
Yeah, Forbidden Desert was the one that we played where you have to go around and try and dig to find your bits of your plane to get out of there before the storm hits and kills you all.
But they're all very cool. And I kind of like working together rather than competing against people. Thirsty Meeples were there, because Thirsty Meeples were running the board game library for the weekend.
Sweet.
So you paid like £10 for a library card, and then they would check out board games to you, and you could take them to any room in the hotel and play them, and then end of the weekend just hand your card back in, get your tenner back.
Awesome.
It was pretty cool. So yeah, we got there pretty early. It was just me because my mate Maz was off in the first round of X-Wing tournaments. And there was a moment where I was like, shit, I should have come with friends. I should have brought more people down because I don't know anyone. And then within 5 minutes of that, someone was saying, hey, dude, do you want to come play this board game? And I was just like, yes.
Yes, I do.
So we played Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which is one of these European games. We have so many different victory conditions. And I'm sure it's probably a lot less complicated than I was led to believe. But I wasn't a fan. Maybe it's because it was the first game of the day. Maybe it was because it took an hour to explain the rules and the setup, and another hour and a half to play. By that point, I was just like
you've given up the will to live after an hour's worth of explaining game mechanics.
Yeah, at that point, I was just like, oh no, I'm not up for this game anymore. But I finished it out because like you don't go to an expo and then be like, sorry guys, got to leave halfway through a game. You finish it, and you just get it done. But then Verity was doing demos for his Devium.
Cool.
So went over and chatted with her for a bit. My mate Drew was doing demos for Gale Force 9 with 24/7 Toys. So he was demoing the Firefly game and a few others. And then basically just walked around, tried to find as many of the games that were on the voting sheet as possible to have a quick play of them. There's a great one called Camelot the Court, which is
Camelot.
Yeah, it's a really nice. It's hard to describe, but it's a very simple game with a really sort of lovely mechanic. You basically have knights, and you bring them into play, and you use cards to move them or other knights, and each of them have a point value and a strength value, so you can fight other knights. And your idea is to get as close to the round table as possible over four levels, and then score. But whenever you score, everybody scores. So your aim is to get there whilst dropping other knights down.
Right.
So it's a really nice, simple mechanic that when you have it explained to you and have the demo, like, well, this is an easy game. And then like 10 minutes into it, you're like, okay, there's actually quite a bit of subtlety and nuance here to that. So that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
I don't think it won the best new game, but it was a father and son team that were doing the demos. It was very cool.
What did win in the end?
I didn't stick around for the awards.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the awards are up on the site, but I didn't see them.
Stick links in the show notes. More I'll have a peruse.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you got a chance to play the XCOM game, did you?
No, I didn't.
Still waiting to see it because I love XCOM to bits, and I'm like thinking whether I should justify spending the money on it or not.
But you have to buy an app to play that game as well.
Yeah.
There's an offline, there's an online requirement, off-game online requirement.
Yeah, there is, because you sit and you have the app running while you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Which contains I think that contains all like the research data and stuff like that. And
But it was being demoed there, obviously. Is it Final Flight, I think, were doing that. But yeah, no, I never stuck around to play it. And I think I rounded out the Friday with a game of Ticket to Ride Europe.
Yay!
With 4 complete strangers.
Awesome.
And had an absolute laugh doing so. It was great. And then an early start, an early night, because the next day was set as a Catan Championships. So yeah, next day was the Catan Championships. That was the Saturday. And because there were so many players, there was always the chance that more than 4 people could get maximum points after 3 rounds. So the way they were doing it then, as a tiebreaker, was point share, and looking back over those players' individual round games and seeing who crushed their opponents.
Yeah.
So when I won my first round game with nearly 50% of the point share, I was like, I could fucking do this. I've got 4 points on the board. Got 4 points on the board, and I got a really convincing win in my first round. Wow, maybe I could do this. And then I had my second game and got dicked on so hard. And finished flat up 4th with 0 points. And I was like, yeah, maybe I can't. It's just like, it was a whole other level of gaming. I mean, I thought like the tension at the regionals at 30 Meeples was something, but nah, there were some hardcore gamers there. I was pretty lucky in that every game I played, either in the championships or random pickup games or random demos, everyone I played with was cool. But I did hear reports from other people around the expo that they'd had
real dicky.
Yeah, encounters with people at the gaming tables who were just like dicks, which is a shame. But I suppose there were 7,000 unique visitors over the course of the weekend. In that many, you're going to have a percentage of people who are just dicks.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're always going to get them wherever you go.
So you just got to ride it. You just got to ride it out and just remember to just be cool.
Yeah.
And then so after I got knocked out of the Catan tournament, my mates.
Did you not place in the end? I thought you were playing for position in the end.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to look on the site to see where I placed because I came third in that final round match as well. So it was like 2 thirds and a first, and they were joint thirds. So it wasn't even like I got a full point. I got a half point for them. So I think I left with like 5 points. So yeah, I was down, down at the bottom of the listings. And that finished at 5, but my mates had bought me a ticket to do a Pathfinder RPG. And I've never done an RPG at a convention before. I've never RPG'd with strangers before. And it was hilarious. It was so much fun.
Okay.
I was playing a dwarf ranger who had a fascination with tea. That was my character quirk. I dropped it in. His whole reason for going on this mission that we were sent on was to see what sort of tea was over there and bring it back.
Nice.
Yeah, and at one point we were seriously considering casting a flying spell on my pet badger so that it could drag a dead maid out of a hotel window.
Yeah, all right, that about sets the level then. Yeah, okay.
So that's where it got to. But yeah, it was great fun. I'm like gonna join the Pathfinder Society because then you can just have a character that's approved character pre-builds.
Yeah. And
go and just join random games because it was a lot of fun. I haven't done an RPG for about 18 months up to this point. So I didn't do one at all last year, and I haven't done one to date this year either. So actually getting to use my imagination and get back into a character was great fun. Really enjoyed that. And Sunday, the final day, we rented Dominion from 30 Meeples and couldn't find a free table anywhere to play it. Yeah, I know that they have said that next year's Expo, the dates which have been announced, I think it's the 3rd to the 5th of June next year.
Okay, it's a week later.
Yeah. They're looking to have 33% more open gaming space. I think they're using Hall 1 at the NEC for the Trader Zone, which means all the halls that were used as Trader Zones this time will become open gaming.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was kind of a cool thing. It's like we left the RPG at like midnight, and you're walking through the hotel and people were like playing board games still at that time. I would definitely book a room at the hotel next year.
Yeah.
Rather than drive back and forth to Worcester. Just to stay involved.
Yeah, then you get the nighttime social stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sunday we played some more Ticket to Ride, played some Lords of War, and watched The Dark Room.
Yes, which I've seen as well. Which, it was great.
Which I really enjoyed. I thought that show was great.
It's fantastic. It's really well thought out.
Yeah. For those who don't know, it's basically a large-scale interactive text adventure game.
Yeah, I think I spoke about it on the show after EasterCon. I'm pretty sure I told you guys about it.
Yeah, it does ring a bell.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Shows how much fucking attention you pay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember something about the text along. Yeah.
You can't see it at home, but I'm holding the awkward balloon at the moment.
But yes, for those who don't know what it is, Brendan, please tell everyone.
No, go back to a different episode.
So for those who don't know what the Dark Room is, go and find out the episode.
Yeah.
So you just have to listen to them all. It's one of the ones in the last 6 months, around Easter.
Yeah, one of them.
Cool. Like I said, I can't remember what I saw last week. So, yeah, so that was pretty much the weekend.
Cool. Highlights
Highlights kind of personal rather than anything else. The highlights for me are the fact that I went initially alone to this, but that didn't stop me from playing games.
Yeah,
that's
I got over quite a few anxieties this weekend.
Yeah,
that's really so
it sounds awesome that you've got out and just done it.
So that's cool. Probably the main highlight for me, the big main takeaway. And obviously competing in the Catan tournament was also pretty special. Even if I did
have your ass handed to you
so much. There was one game where I think 5 sevens got rolled in a row, and every time I got dicked over. It was just no, fuck it. Fuck it, it's done.
It is indeed.
And it was fun. So yeah, that was the Games Expo.
Cool. Glad you enjoyed it, sir.
I'm trying to think of any issues. I think the only issues that I encountered was the lack of open gaming zone. And they've said they're going to resolve that already. So yeah. So if you're in 2 minds about going next year, don't be, just go.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And incredible value for money. If you think it was £25 for an extended ticket.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
£25 for a 3-day Games Fest.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And if you don't want to buy stuff, you don't have to buy stuff.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah. No, awesome. So much fun.
Cool. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So was that £25 on top of your ticket because you're in the championship, or is that £25?
Oh yeah, if you wanted to do something like the dark room was a little bit extra. If you wanted to go and sit into an RPG, the RPGs cost a couple of quid, I think. Yeah. But yeah, the ticket prices for stuff. If you wanted to go into the tournaments, prices were like £6, I think, for a tournament ticket.
Cool.
So yeah. But you don't have to buy anything. You just go and give 30 people a tenner, get a card, and just get as many board games as you want and play it.
Yeah. Good old thirsty meeples.
Oh, I love those guys. And it was great because they recognised me as well.
Oh, awesome.
That made things so much easier. It was like we just go in there a bit overwhelmed and they go, hey, how you doing? It's like, oh, sweet. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I think we need to organise a NerdVsWorld Thirsty Meeples
session.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yeah. So if we can do recording a session of a game somewhere, that'd be sweet. That would be kind of interesting to record a game session.
Yeah.
Kind of
commentate
podcast tabletop.
Yeah.
Well,
worth giving a try.
For sure.
There's a few ideas that we can spin on that one.
Yeah.
I think could possibly be a extended independent casting.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
So, which one go? Lawgiver or MCM?
Well, I might as well start with MCM because that was first.
Cool.
So yeah, that was over the bank holiday weekend, excluding the bank holiday Monday. So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the first time. They had a whole day on the Friday because normally they only have a preview of about 4-5 hours on the Friday, but they opened it up for a whole day this year. So it was massive. I think the final figures came in at something like 122,000 there over that weekend.
Jesus.
So it was busy.
Yeah, I'll say. Fucking hell.
Oh God, stuff for over the weekend. So on the Friday,
I was going to interrupt.
Yep.
Do you realise how much I hated you by the end of the first weekend?
I bet. Yeah. I was getting a lot of kind of love hate on Facebook, and then it was descending into more and more hate on Facebook as the week went on. And by the end of this week, everybody's like, "That's it. I'm just not speaking to you anymore."
Yeah.
So so how I got to pretty much everyone I know not speaking to me anymore was on the Friday at MCM. So the interviews that I did there, all of which will be out as wonky casts over the next couple of weeks. Apart from, I think we're planning on doing something with the Felicia Day one for NerdVsWorld.
Yeah.
So we'll have
and the John Noble one.
And the John Noble one, yes. Sorry. So. Yeah, they'll be coming out as kind of NerdVsWorld, and some will be going out as wonky casts. Yeah. But just keep an eye on the site because they'll all be out over the next couple of weeks. So on the Friday, the interviews I did, I interviewed the guys from Falling Skies. Mm-hmm. So it was Will Patton, Drew Roy, and Moon Bloodgood who were there. Obviously, because Falling Skies is just about to start its final season, they were over there chatting about that. They were all really cool. Then interviewed John Noble, who was just an absolute legend.
Yeah, he's my hero.
He was absolutely amazing. Last night I was watching, because I'm still cracking on with the list of films, and I watched Two Towers last night, and he came on and I was like, you're the dude! He's so cool. What struck me most about him was the moment he walked into the room, because a lot of these are round tables, and then you get an opportunity to do kind of one-to-ones with them after you've done the round tables. He walked in the room and went round everybody and introduced himself and found out their names and shook their hands and was like, nice to meet you.
That's cool.
And that was immediately, I was like, you are awesome. So he was really, really cool. He sat down, he had some wonderful stories. So yeah, when that one comes out, have a listen, because it's really, really cool. He's such a cool guy. The majority of that one ended up getting taken over by talking about Fringe, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, Walter was just one of the greatest written characters.
And he said himself, basically, it's the favourite character he's ever played. Like, as a character actor, he said, that is, you're given something like Walter and that's it. That's just amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we talked a lot about Fringe, and a lot about the people who work with on Fringe, a bit about Sleepy Hollow. So yeah, it was a very, very cool interview. And then after that, on the Friday, there was the Robot Overlords panel, which was cool. Gillian Anderson was there. Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't get to interview Gillian Anderson, which I would have probably melted on the spot. So
you'd have had no friends left.
No, indeed, none whatsoever. No. But I was there taking pictures, so I got some decent pictures. Yeah. So they're there plugging Robot Overlords, which is an indie British sci-fi film, which looks pretty cool. So I will stick some links in the show notes about that, because it does look pretty awesome. She was awesome. Unfortunately, it was one of those ones that they opened it out to the audience to ask all the questions, and there were the usual ridiculous con questions of, can I have a hug? Can you marry me? Blah blah blah. So
do you wear skirts all
there were there were some ridiculous ones like, do you ever want to work with things other than robots? It's like, Jesus, have you not watched any of the other stuff she's done? It's like, even X-Files wasn't robots, No. So there were some ridiculous questions. So the panel wasn't as great as I hoped it could be, but she was awesome, and I felt really sorry for the guy who wrote and directed Robot Overlords, who got kind of pretty much completely overlooked.
Yeah.
So I will say, go and watch Robot Overlords, because it looks awesome.
Yeah. Sweet.
So yeah, that was Friday, and a lot of Friday. I just had a quick wander around, said hello to all the usual suspects. The Rankins were there, and Kit Cox, Jonathan Green. He was there on Saturday. There was all the Steampunk Society were there, all had their display, Mr. Crichton and all the rest. So a lot of the usual suspects there. So just wandering around, hi, waving to the Genki Gear people, and all the people that you start just getting used to seeing at all the cons now. Because the different thing about MCM is that it has so many different zones that you can just spend the time in. So there's the VidFest zone, which is all the kind of YouTube and web series and things like that. Then there's the Comic Village, which is all of the artists and comic writers. There's the Pop Asia area, which is all anime and kawaii. And so then there's the games. There's an esports arena. So there's like tons and tons of different areas that you could literally just spend the whole weekend in one area with all the stuff that's happening. So there is so much stuff going on for that weekend that you really kind of either need to just go around and get a flavour of everything, or be really well planned for what you want to do. Because I really didn't get to see much of the esports at all, and it was only on the Sunday, after I'd kind of got all the interviews and everything done, that I actually managed to go around the con proper and get to look at stuff and play some games, and that was cool. So before that was Saturday. Oh God, dude, don't look at me like that, dude. You can't see it, but I'm getting the stink eye. Because on the Saturday morning we first went and we saw Felicia Day's panel, and she was absolutely excellent, apart from spoilering Supernatural for me. But if anyone was going to spoiler the fate of Charlie in Supernatural for me, I'm happy it was Felicia Day. Yeah, that's fine. She's forgiven. Yeah,
totally.
Interviews for the day that we did there. We interviewed the guys from NCIS and NCISLA. So it was the two techies from NCISLA and Emily Wickershaw, the new CIA draft into NCIS proper. And they were all lovely as well. The ladies who played Cruella and Ursula in Once Upon a Time, chatted with them. Cool. They were also awesome.
Nice.
and then Felicia Day who came in, and I got pictures with Felicia Day and with John Noble, and I posted them up on Twitter and on Facebook, and the hate was being rained down upon me by everyone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If I hadn't already spilled my coffee on myself, I would throw it at you right now.
So, yeah.
So much jealousy.
Yeah, I know. Felicia Day, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
she's
said,
one of the ones on the list.
She's on the
very
list.
start.
Like, I think it was episode 2 or episode 3. We made a list of people who, if we got them on the show, we'd know we'd made it.
Yeah.
Felicia Day was one of my top picks.
She was definitely in our top 5.
I'm still going to say that we. It wasn't a full podcast that we could have recorded with Felicia Day. It was a round table.
Indeed.
So there was and it was the busiest round table of the day.
Well,
the room
obviously,
was, the room was jammed.
It's the queen of geekdom.
Yeah, indeed. And again, she's lovely. She's engaging. She's a wonderful speaker. Yeah. She's hilarious and really, really quick. Because her panel in the morning, again, that was just open straight out to the audience. Wasn't quite as bad as the ones from the Gillian Anderson panel, but it was a lot more thoughtful, which was good. But she's really quick and really on the ball, and she's very, very funny. So it's great to see her talk. She's just you just want to sit and listen to her all day.
Yes, you do.
Go, just tell me more, Felicia. I don't care what you should talk about, just talk.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So that was really, really cool. So yes, she will be on one of the shows, but she's not technically on one of the shows.
So we still have something to aim for.
We still have something to aim for, and there's a possibility because obviously we went. Well, I'll get onto Amanda Palmer later, but the potential is there for hopefully getting to talk to her on a book tour later this year. So let's cross our fingers for that, gentlemen, and see if we can get that.
Absolutely.
So yes, that was that was all my interviews on the Saturday. And I came out of Saturday going, oh my God, I cannot believe that this has just happened over the course of this weekend. And then it got even better. Because, there was, for the rest of the week, I had an interview with Kit Cox, who's lovely, who if you've never met or read Kit Cox's stuff, do so. His is the first interview that I'm putting out because it's awesome. We sat and chatted for a good half an hour or so on the Sunday in one of the quiet upstairs rooms away from all of the rabble, and it was great. Set the world to rights. So that one will come out. And then, we had to leave on the Sunday afternoon because we had to do a ridiculous round trip from London via Milton Keynes to Bristol to drop Megan off her grandparents and then get over to Bristol on the Sunday night. So we got to Bristol about 9 o'clock, I think it was, on the Sunday night. There was one point as we were driving kind of across the top of Oxford going like, our bed is like 15 minutes from here. We could just go to our bed and not have to worry about it. But we have to drive for an hour and a half to Bristol. But we pressed on and did it. I was pretty shattered by this point because MCM was a lot of walking around, a lot of running around, trying to get to various places in time for panels and stuff. Because we saw panels on a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't manage to get interviews with the guys from Arrow or the guys from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that were there. But I just didn't stop all weekend. So I think if I'd have had those in, I would have just keeled over dead. If I'd have had those as well. Off to Bristol for Lawgiver MkII. I mean, again, I didn't get to see as much of it as I wanted to because I ended up running the main room for pretty much the whole day. Because the sound guys had come in and set up everything and then wandered off, and then there were problems with the sound. So obviously I jumped in and fixed the sound and ended up running the room for the day. That's just It's
the way you roll, though, isn't
it?
it?
Absolutely. It's the drawbacks of just being able to do shit. It's can you work at sound desk? Well, yes. Can you get stuff from a computer onto this projector screen? Yes. Can you do? Yes. That's fine. Yes. Go away. Leave it with me. I'll sort it. So ran the main room. So there were some cool panels in there with a lot of the artists and writers. Cool. I did 2 of the panels myself, which was the ISO 101, which was fantastic.
I'd love to have seen that live.
It's really cool. I've got recordings of them all, so again, I can probably either put them out as podcasts or just share them with you guys or whatever. We'll see. because I've got them all. Because obviously I had my laptops there, so I had two. I had my Mac and my PC. So the PC was plugged into the sound desk, so I took a line out from the sound desk and recorded everything on there using Sonar, and then had the Mac on stage for when I was doing all the work.
Shame, that would have been really cool to have filmed that and have that out as a
it would have been really cool,
like YouTube video or something.
Yeah. Well, NerdVsWorld does have a YouTube channel. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and the cool thing is, well, because we can. All right, okay, we can put some, because I actually videoed most of my stuff at MCM. So I actually have film of pretty much everything that I did at MCM in terms of interviews.
Cool. Well, there's already a YouTube page set up. For
so we can get the footage and we can put out at least little bits of it, and then do the rest of it. But anyway, that's cool. Something we'll discuss. Talk about that later. Yeah. We're talking about Lawgiver. So yeah, ISO 101 was awesome. It was lovely to meet John Higgins, the guy who was the colourist on Watchmen. He's an absolute legend. So happy to be on the panel with him. And I was really happy that, because I kind of put the first thing forward for going into ISO 101, and I proposed Walter the Wobot. And thankfully it was unanimous that Walter the Wobot deserves to die. So that was cool. I thought, kind of putting that forward, that there'd maybe some die-hard, no, he's great, we love Walter the Wobot, but no, everybody was like, hate him. Get rid of him.
Kill him now. Kill him with fire.
That was pretty much the response. There were some other odd things, like the colour green got thrown into ISO 101, amongst other things. It was a bit random.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. And then I did a panel on art and kind of how far people can deviate from established designs and how much input they can have in when creating new things for the Dread universe. Yeah. So that was kind of cool as well. It was, all in all, it was an excellent day and got to have a wander around. They had a kind of a games area, but not like kind of board games. It's like Village Fate type things. So they had like Nerf guns. And then they had little targets, so they had to shoot the perps, and that was scored. So that people who got the highest score, I think the one who got the highest score, and that won a Lawgiver replica prop.
Oh, nice!
Which was really cool. And and all the artists were there in a room, and everyone was doing sketches for everyone, and it was a really, really nice affair. I think it was probably something like maybe about 70 or 80 people there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it was a really nice kind of chilled out affair. Yeah. It was a really, really good day. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. The costumes for everybody were just insanely good. The Judge Death
I've seen
was phenomenal.
I've seen quite a few photos and stuff from that. I'm like, wow, some cool homemade stuff.
So yeah, it was a really, really good day. Nice and chilled out. It was the utter flip side of the coin from MCM. It was just a really small, intimate con.
Yeah, well, the intimate cons are really nice.
They are,
definitely.
I think they're ramping up for Lawgiver MkIII already. I think.
Sweet.
I'm fairly sure that Sue and the Rule 32 guys are getting ready.
Yeah. So congrats, guys. Yeah. It was awesome. And as I've said, if you want me back again next year, I'll be there.
Yeah. We love you guys.
Yeah, we do, and hopefully, if we can all make it next year, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So we'll have to see.
I think the problem is with that time of year is that it's convention season. So there's so many conventions going on.
I think now is the first time I've had a break from conventions since February.
Yeah.
And I think now I'm free until 9 Worlds in August.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've had any time free of a con since February now.
Yeah, I got my stuff booked for 9 Worlds. So
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that was Lawgiver and MCM, both of which were excellent. Both of which I say very, very different affairs, but if Dread is your thing, go to Lawgiver. It's absolutely amazing. It's getting bigger and better every year. They're getting bigger and better people there. It's just, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, because Jock was there, wasn't he?
Jock was there, yeah.
He's I followed him on Instagram. I love his work as well.
Yeah, he was there and he was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do a panel with him, unfortunately.
His cover for Suicide is Part 1. It just looks incredible. Yeah, his art is just, I love his art. And his Mondo tees that he does, yeah. As an artist, he's incredible.
Yeah.
I think he's a local boy, wasn't he?
Is he? I don't know. And MCM is if you've not experienced MCM, then do. It's huge. It's insane. You will lose count of the amount of Harley Quinns wandering around. It has to be experienced. Yeah. And I mean, this time was great because we stuck around for the nighttime stuff as well. So it was nice to see what actually happens at night for the first time. So I think I've been going to it. I think I've been to like 4 now, something like that. And this is the first time I've seen what actually happens at night, and it's like a festival. So outside of Excel, there's like a little bit of there's like grass, and then there's the kind of amphitheatre thing, and there's just people in cosplay everywhere, just sat around chatting and dancing, and there was an outside fringe stage where there was bands on and stuff. Nice. So yeah, it is just like a nerd festival. Sweet. It's really quite cool.
And if board games are your thing, make sure you go to the UK Games Expo.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed you'll play something you have never played before.
Yeah. Yes.
Guaranteed. And you'll meet some really lovely people.
Cool. So I think all that's left was the very quick mention of Amanda Palmer.
Yeah, right. Amanda fucking Palmer. She's incredible.
She was incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible.
So she played and sang and talked and read from a book.
I'm fairly sure
best part of 2 hours.
I'm fairly sure we talked about Amanda Palmer in one of our first episodes as well.
We did.
There's the whole Art of Asking TED Talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
So yeah, she was absolutely phenomenal, and I can't believe she made, because she hadn't done a signing that day. She said to everyone, "Just I'll do the signing after this," and stayed until she'd signed everything for everyone.
Wow.
And yeah, then she said literally right at the end of the night, it was like 1:45, and she's nearly 6 months pregnant now, and absolutely shattered. And she still was like, "Yes, of course, I'll take a photo, posed for the photo to go with the article." Nice. And then of course the selfies.
Yeah.
Which, again, that was hate piled upon hate, piled upon hate.
You've had a selfie with John Noble, Felicity Day and Amanda Palmer all in the space of about 10 days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you're wondering where all this hate was coming from, dude, totally justified in an obviously joking and quite unjustified kind of way, but also very justified.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been phenomenal. The last 2 weeks, my brain has melted. Yeah. It's been so beyond awesome. It's unreal. So yes, and that brought us to the end of a very, very busy couple of weeks.
Yeah. During which we have managed to gamely carry on with catching up with TV shows for you.
I think I tried to get most of mine done before that.
Yeah. I have to hands up. Unfortunately, I have not. I failed that one because personally, I have been super busy. Yeah. Those of you that don't know, I have a sideline as an alternative model, and I've had 5 photo shoots last month alone. There was 3 in 1 week. So yeah, I've been kind of super busy prepping and costuming. And...
It's fine. We'll try not to spoil it too much for you, sir.
It's fine.
But okay, so I guess where should we start off with season finales? Wow.
Start with the A's. Let's go for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, yeah. So interesting ending to that. Yeah. Not quite what I was expecting, and potentially something that is going to have very weird impact for Simmons for next season.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because obviously she gets
sucked
into the artifact. So my initial thought was maybe they're going to go like season 6 of Buffy type route, where she becomes the big evil over the course of the season. Because obviously this artifact was dangerous to the Kree.
Yeah.
So it's highly likely that she'll emerge with some sort of Kree killing superpower, and maybe the whole antagonism between her and Skye will re-emerge now that Skye's an Inhuman.
Yeah.
Which instantly, how fucking awesome is that?
That is pretty awesome.
And how well does that actress come on in that role of Skye?
Definitely.
Because she's in a scene there with Carl McLaughlin and the actress playing her mother. And
what's her name from Neighbours?
Yeah, and she's not
Home and Away.
Yeah, and she's not upstaged. She doesn't. She feels like she belongs on screen.
Yeah.
It's like the character of Skye and the actress have just like, this season's been phenomenal for them.
It's actually, I'm a bit gutted that they seem to have written Cal out now.
Yeah, with the whole Tahiti.
Yeah.
No, not Tahiti.
Yeah, Tahiti Protocol. Yeah.
No, Tahiti Protocol was the
No, the
Theta Protocol.
Theta Protocol was basically the Avengers.
The
helicarrier.
Yeah. So yeah, he was just.
He was awesome towards the end of that season. Yeah. I just loved that Coulson could talk him round.
Yeah.
And talked him round, and then he became an ally, and it was just sweet.
Yeah, because it was the Mr. Hyde.
Phenomenal end to the series.
Yeah, it really was, and it's obviously going to seed Civil War.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the tie-in is going to be. I think the new season is going to be all about finding people who have become inhuman because of exposure to this fish oil.
Oh, yes.
And the crystals. Yes. And I think the new emergence of meta-humans or inhumans is going to be...
Mutants,
yeah. Yeah, even so much so, like... That's how much they're giving the finger to Fox.
Yeah.
With the ban of the X-Men. Because the new Inhumans line is the uncanny Inhumans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a giant fuck you.
It is.
And essentially, the Inhumans storyline arc from the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Series 2 is an X-Men storyline.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But it was awesome. Gutting that they killed, Captain Adama.
Yes.
Edward James.
Yeah, Edward James Olmos, yes.
Gutted they killed him because he was incredible as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So yeah, it's going to seed Civil War somehow. There'll be an instant reign to these guys that'll be the crossover point of the next season.
It'll be about the registration because they were kind of they were going that way of adding them all to the register.
Yeah. So that'd be cool.
That was phenomenal. Again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for me has just gone from strength to strength this season. So I think. Again, from where we were 2 years ago when it started, when we were like, it's a bit dull, really,
could be alright, couldn't be.
To the turnaround from Winter Soldier, it was just phenomenal, and it's just gone on to be phenomenal. And the tie-ins with Avengers and Thor, and it's been great.
Season 2 really feels like kind of a reward for those people who just stuck with it.
Yeah, it feels like a payoff.
So now it's around and you can go and binge watch it. I'd highly recommend binge watching
definitely.
it.
If you haven't, then do. Yeah. And I think somebody prepared a chronology of how to watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil and where they fall in the timeline.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So it literally says, watch this episode, then this episode, then this film, then this episode. So that's going back to the original Iron Man.
Okay,
so I find I think it was a Nerdist one.
Oh yeah,
okay. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it was a Nerdist one. So I'll find the link, so I'll put that in the show notes. But it's a chronology of how to watch the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe and in what order.
Amazing. That's just amazing. Cool.
Okay, so that was a good one. Supernatural.
I was going to stick with the A's.
Were you? All right. Okay. Go on then.
Arrow.
Yes. Okay. Arrow. Build up to him becoming Ra's al Ghul.
But they've been pronouncing it Ra's al Ghul, which is the way
they've been calling him Ra's al Ghul until he becomes Ra's al Ghul, is as far as I can tell, because the name means something different. So at the moment he was Ra's al Ghul, which is kind of next in line, and then he was to become Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
Because I was confused as to why he kept calling it Raish and one kept calling it Raj and Raz, and I think it's actually a title.
Okay.
And
I got that it's a title.
Yeah.
Because it's of the demon, isn't it? So it's the demon.
Something of the demon. And so at one point when he was Ra's al Ghul, he was heir to the demon, and then he would become the demon, which is Ra's al Ghul.
Head of the demon. Or whatever,
yeah. So I think that explains that, but I'm sure somebody else will either correct me loudly on the internet or
that's what the internet's for.
Absolutely. Correcting if I'm wrong, internet, tell me I'm wrong. And it was the build up to that, which all kind of climaxed with him coming back and having to and being told that he had to destroy the city and.
Because that was a slow payoff from the flashbacks.
Yes.
With the flashbacks, I was like, where are these flashbacks leading?
Yes.
And then there's the reveal of the gas. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of clever. I kind of like that. For me, though, seeing Thea finally become who she's meant to become.
Yes.
And becoming Speedy.
Yes.
Was awesome.
That was awesome, and that's why I was gutted that I didn't get to see them at MCM, but next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
And they've also introduced Katana, who's in the Suicide Squad movie poster as well. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Not one of its stronger finales, I don't think, but...
No, I don't even think it was as strong as its mid-season finale.
Well,
or just that...
dying.
Yeah, the cliffhanger, yeah.
That was cool.
Which was awesome. That was a brilliant end to the series. I guess my only issue with Arrow at the moment is that everybody of the Arrow Scooby gang is now a kick-ass ninja from where it started, 3 years ago? And they were like, school kids and dropouts and drug addicts. And
Laurel Lance has become the canary far too quickly.
Yeah.
Given that Sarah and...
Yeah, Oliver spent 5 years on an island becoming that. She spent like 5 months with What's-Her-Face, and now she's a ninja.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Suspension of disbelief to a point, but now everybody's ass-kicking ninjas. Where are you going to go now?
Well, maybe with the fact that they've got Legends of Tomorrow, some of the characters will be off in other shows.
Potentially.
Be more of a character focus for Arrow in season 4, perhaps.
Certainly Atom will.
Yeah. Cool.
But so just to cross that over, I know you haven't seen the end of The Flash yet.
I haven't seen past episode 5.
But what I will point out is in the Flash season finale, when he's doing something or other, and he starts getting flashes of alternate pasts, alternate futures, alternate universes.
Well, that's the Flashpoint leading, isn't it?
Yeah. And you get and again, I think Nerdist did an analysis of what you see in those flashes. It's things like him in jail and the People of Tomorrow and some other characters that we haven't even seen yet and things from the comics. So there's a lot happens in that very, very short space of time. It's all very subliminal and very quick and flashy, but it's been slowed down and poured over and analysed by the internet. Go internet.
Yeah.
There's some very interesting pointers of what is to come in the Flash Arrow universe.
That's cool. Cool.
So I won't say too much about the actual finale, but other than watch out for that if you are watching it. And if you've already seen it, go back and re-watch that bit. Because there's some interesting stuff going on.
Sweet.
And essentially, they've hit a big red reset button at the end of it, so fuck knows what's going to happen next season. It could be anything.
That's cool.
I knew there was one show that had hit the reset button. I was having problems remembering it.
There's a couple, actually.
And then I was just like, Arrow, Flash most definitely has hit a big reset button.
And Person of Interest, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Archer,
not one I watched, so take it away.
Archer. This season of Archer has been phenomenal. The fact that Lana and Archer have had a baby has added a whole dynamic to it. Especially, especially with an episode where Archer meets his in-laws in a hot tub.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he thinks they're offering him out for a threesome, but it's hilarious. But the finale is essentially Inner Space. Do you remember Inner Space?
Yeah. Of course I remember Inner Space.
They have so they're out of work now. They're hired by the CIA as their last gasp job, with Christian Slater playing a character called Slater, who was the CIA handler. And obviously they fuck up their last job. And the ship that they've been miniaturized to.
I guess you had to be.
I think I'm gonna have to watch this series.
Archer is hilarious. If you haven't watched Archer, you have to watch it. Basically, they had to get to the tear duct so they can be taken as a pet different room so the ship can go normal size.
Oh, Archie, you've broken Brendan.
I'm not even going to spoil it, just watch it. It's one of those things where
you just have to watch it.
Watched it. It's just, yeah. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to take that as that. Yes, I really should watch this.
Yeah, you should do. It is funny.
See, it's a funny show anyway. Yes. It's the humor is just wrong and hilarious. And season 5, where it was like Arch-of-Vice, where they've been completely disavowed. They're essentially a spy agency, but the most inept spy agency in the world. So season 5 was Arch-of-Vice, where they became coke dealers rather than spies,
Right.
and then got hired back by the CIA. And this season they've been back as a spy agency, and they've just been bungling every job that's been given to them. And this last one was just hilarious. I want to see where they go next season. But it's got Aisha Tyler in it, who's just incredible as Lana. But yeah, sorry. Into that.
No, that's cool.
That kind of broke me a little bit. Just remembering that scene. Go and watch it. It's only 13 episodes long, and like 20 minutes an episode, so you can binge watch that in a day, and you will laugh. Cool. Anyway, let's move on to something serious. A serious show.
Have we finished all the A's?
Yeah, I think we have. C, Castle. There we go.
Castle, yes. And yeah, interesting ending that I wasn't quite expecting.
Well, the reason for that was usually the writers know when the season's being picked up or not for the next season, so they write a finale that has a cliffhanger so they can lead into the next season. But this time out, they didn't know whether they'd been renewed, so they thought, well, in case we're not renewed, let's wrap everything up. So we had an episode which is a flashback episode for Castle, in that we get to learn what it was that made him want to become a horror writer or a mystery writer. And it's a really sweet, happy ending to it all once they solved the case.
Yep.
And there's nothing more to say to about that.
No,
it was
indeed,
just, it was a lovely episode. I almost wish they weren't doing another season, because it's like
that would have been
you've given it the perfect send off.
Did they wrap up everything about his missing memories this season?
No.
So
well,
I know they covered some of it, but I don't think they covered all of it.
Yeah, I imagine they'll probably say some of that for the next season.
Yeah,
then, but yeah.
So I guess that's the only thing that was kind of unresolved. That if it had ended now, I'd be a bit like, I didn't find it good. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you watch anything? We don't watch anything with B, do we? Don't think so.
God knows.
No, we watch so much shit.
Yeah. Let's just pick shows that we have seen the finales of.
Okay. Elementary.
Elementary. Yeah. Now that was a really good season finale.
Yeah.
That was really, really interesting.
Yeah, with the drug dealer trying to bring him back around to his old ways. We see the violent side of Sherlock Holmes, and we see an untimely return to old habits. Yeah,
so that again, it bodes for a slightly darker next season.
Yeah.
Because I think Elementary, it kind of errs on the side of camp, I think, a lot of the time, which is good to keep it up, because there's a lot of grim, dark shows, and it's nice to have something that's a bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice to see a darker side to Sherlock next season.
And it'll be the 4th season, won't it?
Will it be, it'll be season 4, yeah.
Season 4. So things tend to get a little bit darker around that time. They've got their established audience by then. But yeah, I enjoy Elementary. The mind games that the drug dealer was playing with him. Yeah, it made for an interesting psychological watch.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly wasn't how I was expecting that episode to play out.
Yeah. I've become a real convert to that show, because I remember
I've always loved it.
I can remember you got me into it, because I was steadfastly refusing to watch it because it was
not Sherlock.
Yeah, it was an Americanization of Sherlock.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 2 episodes into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, you know what, it's actually quite good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been loving it ever since. It's one of my go-to shows straight away. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Which has been renewed to season 10, so we know it's going to get going anyway. But I'm personally of the opinion that it's just got to stop soon.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, this season in places just degenerated with the guys just being a dick to each other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of losing some of its humour.
I think it regained it a bit, and then it's kind of disappeared again.
Yeah.
And I think the way they ended the series with Sheldon preparing to propose, but then not, I don't think is any way in keeping with his character.
Yeah.
I think it's a complete departure from how Sheldon would have behaved in that situation. And I think it's just been rewritten so it can be a season finale. And I'm kind of a bit knocked that they've ended the last 2 seasons in a row now with Sheldon on a down note.
Yeah.
Which I don't see the point of.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just become one of those shows that... Whereas the original concept might have been cool and everything, I think nerd culture has become so overly commodified recently that the references just aren't making a blind bit of difference.
Felicia Day actually spoke about it and said that, originally it was good, but that I think she feels it's being a bit too kind of offhand with nerds now, and it's it's bordering on offensive now.
Yeah.
That's one of my downers for the TV season, to be honest. Bang Theory in general, but nah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Supernatural.
Yeah, go on then. So
again, another down note for me.
Yeah. So I did like that they got a bit meta.
Yep.
In that they acknowledged the fact that it's one of the brothers facing the big bad each season, and the other brother secretly working behind the scenes against their wishes to try and cure them.
Yes.
They acknowledge the fact that they do keep repeating that plot time and time again.
Indeed.
I'm not sure what's going to happen now that Dean has killed Death.
Yep.
And yeah, you were saying before we started recording, it kind of sort of hit the Leviathan.
I'm worried it's going to end up being another Leviathan-esque series, which I think has been the worst series of Supernatural I've ever seen.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. The Leviathan storyline was just awful. And
this just appears to be another giant amorphous black thing.
Yeah. So
that's going to cause problems for the next season.
Yeah, the Mark of Cain that Dean inherited, it was revealed, was actually a lock that kept out the darkness that was around, that God and the angels fought at the creation of the universe. And it's been passed from
and now it's free!
Yeah, it was passed from Lucifer to Cain, and from Cain to Dean. And without this lock...
Didn't get past to Dean Cain first.
No.
That's a plot line for you.
Still not the worst Superman.
No, indeed.
No, not by a long shot.
No.
Hello, Brandon Ruth. You're a great atom, but you weren't a great Superman. Yeah, and so the Death offered Dean the choice to go somewhere where he wouldn't die, but where he would be happy and wouldn't be a threat.
It basically sounded like sending him into space.
Or back in. I personally thought back into purgatory. But yeah,
get out of there again.
Yeah. But Sam had to die. That was the curveball. Was Sam had to die. And in the end, Dean killed Death, and the mark was removed. When Rowena's storyline finally got interesting, because that was just the most boring thing this season, was just that, yes, we know you're going to double cross him, yes, we know you're going to try and kill him, yes, but you're not even being slightly clever about it. Good to see Crowley return to be a badass, though.
Yes, that face-off between Sam and Crowley was particularly good.
Yeah, remember that I let you live. Yeah, that was cool.
So I think there was some really good moments at the end of the series, but I think again they've hit a big reset button and released a big bad into the universe. So now
it's the original darkness. Isn't it?
Now you've got Sam and Dean back to being pretty much human, both of them, without any.
There's no Angel and Sam.
Specialness.
There's no mark on Dean, but their Menelaus cave has been ransacked.
Yes, that got done over by that cult.
Yeah,
the Frankensteins.
The Steins, yeah. But nothing got burnt in the end, did it? It was about to.
Yeah.
It's been trashed,
yeah.
so they can rebuild. Yeah. It was a bit of a meh ending.
Well, the ending, I was just like, not again.
Yeah.
I think that was the first words out of my mouth was, oh, not again.
Yeah.
And I just see it going down the route of Leviathan.
I will see how it shakes out.
They'll eventually find some tablet somewhere that contains details of how, and I'll just start stabbing myself with a remote control.
Maybe they'll have to sort of regather the armies of heaven. Maybe it's going to be another cast season.
Possibly, because
if
Castiel didn't seem to be doing much this season at all.
Well, he's finally got his grace back, so he's finally back to full power, although he is broken winged. So yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that'll be the key. The fact that it was the original darkness that the original guard fought and banished. So they're going to have to find somebody. They're going to have to find a new mark, aren't they? Yeah. So now they spent the entire season trying to find a way to remove the mark of Cain from Dean. Now they're going to have to try and find a way of making a new mark.
Yeah.
And the season will be the brothers arguing over which one of them has to bear the mark. Calling it now. I'm calling it now. There you go.
No, gets put into Castiel.
That would be badass. We've never really seen Castiel go full evil. Apart from the start of the Leviathan storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, the Once Upon a Time season finale was basically the same thing. Which was nasty black smoke went into Emma and evil Emma for next season. That was the Once Upon a Time season finale. The end.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Yeah.
Person of interest.
Person of interest, yes.
That's another reset button.
Yes, it did, yep.
So the whole Samaritan thing came to a head. I always forget his name. I always want to call him Linus because that was his character in Lost.
Yes.
Oh, what's his name?
Mr.
But is Linus in Person of Interest?
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's Ben Linus in Lost.
Lost, he is.
Finch,
that's the one, yeah. Finch finally got his wish. The machine finally spoke to him directly rather than through code, which was kind of sweet. The idea that the machine has secretly been working at this way of building a brain in which it can transfer itself to protect itself from Samaritan was kind of cool. We still didn't see Shaw, did we?
No.
So she's still out there.
Or not.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure.
And Control was taken away and put into a hole, which will never be found again. Yeah, it tied up some things and then just hit the reset button for new season.
Yeah.
So Samaritan is no longer a big issue,
and
the machine is safe.
I believe it only has a short run next season.
You were saying last time, weren't you? Enough to get syndicated.
I think it's got 12 episodes to finish it off.
Yeah.
So much as it hit the reset button, there's not a lot more left they can do.
Which is probably a good thing, because if they had a full 23 episode season to go, and they were running out of ideas, it would drag and it would peter out, and you don't want that from a show that has been consistently good over the last 5 years.
So I'll be interested to see how they wrap that up next season.
Very much so. Right. Any others? No else I've seen. I haven't seen the Blacklist. But
I have seen the Blacklist. I'm trying to remember what happened at the end. There were various parts of him being shot and being not shot, and I can't really remember now exactly what happened. Might have to watch it again. It was pretty awesome, as I recall, and I think they left it on a massive cliffhanger, because I think I remember going, "You bastards!" at the end of it. So I think I enjoyed it, and there was a cliffhanger, but that's all that sticks in my mind at the moment, I'm afraid.
Cool. Any other finales that we've watched?
I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
There are others. I think it's worth noting this week's episode of Game of Thrones, even though it hasn't finished yet. But this week's episode of Game of Thrones was just awesome. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've stayed pretty quiet on the whole Game of Thrones thing.
We have. Because most of this season's been pretty dull, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of setting up. I think I read an article online about why it's been like that. And I think it's pretty much down to the fact that George R.R. Martin has sat down with the showrunners and gone, this is kind of what the end game is. And so now the showrunners are pulling everything apart and moving towards the end game. So they're wrapping up storylines that aren't going anywhere, removing characters that aren't doing anything, moving characters very quickly to where they need to be. So I think this has been very much a big chess game of a series of moving people to where they need to be.
It's been nice to see Daenerys and Tyrion finally get together.
Yeah.
I'm coming at it from a position of someone who's not read the books.
I've not read the books either.
I'm kind of loving a little bit. I'm not going to lie, I'm loving a little bit seeing the people who have read the book that rage about the differences.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of rage going on at the moment.
Okay, I gave up on ever seeing a faithful adaptation of a comic or a book when they started doing the X-Men films. And I started I realised then that you have to approach these adaptations as that. They're not a word-for-word copy, they are an adaptation of the source. Occasionally you get something like Sin City, which is more or less frame for frame.
Yes.
But that's rare. And if you don't accept that, then you're never going to enjoy anything you see on the TV.
No.
You're going to always be picking things apart. So yeah, now a little part of me is just like, I used to be like you. I used to be angry about the smallest little differences. But now I love this stuff.
But if it was faithful to the comic, it would be the comic.
Yeah.
So then you go and read the comic.
Yeah.
If you want to see something new and exciting and it done in an interesting way, well, as long as it's, respectful to the original. I guess that's my key thing. As long as it's respectful to the original material. Doesn't have to follow it. Doesn't have to be exactly the same as it. Just be respectful. Don't trample all over it.
Yeah.
I guess is my key thing.
Don't unwrite canon. And stuff like that. Yeah. I think that's why I had a bit of an issue with the Hitchhiker's film, but.
Oh, what the recent? Yeah. Well, not that. It wasn't that recent, but the 2003 one was it?
05, I think.
Was it 05? Yeah. It was around that time, but yeah.
Tiny bit of an issue with that.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
The latest Game of Thrones, Hard Home, was
utterly phenomenal.
Yeah.
So equal parts epic and terrifying.
Yeah, that last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it just came out of nowhere for me. I just totally wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either.
And it just hit, and he was just like, "What the actual?" And then it's just like, "Ooh, holy shit!"
I was expecting something because I'd seen on Facebook a Rolling Stone post saying that Mastodon had been in Game of Thrones as wildlings and had died. And I was like, oh, well, how did they die? Because I'm watching the episode thinking, they're all getting on quite well. I think Jon Snow might actually have pulled this off. Is one of the Thens going to just sort of like mutiny?
And that guy sort of was like, no, I'll kill you all.
And I was like, oh, this is what's going to happen then, is it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
the fit hit the Shan.
Yeah.
And it was fucking epic.
Yeah, it was awesome. So cool. Yeah. I think that's probably about us for this episode.
I think that is probably about us.
Okay, just a few quick things then before we wrap up and finish.
Yeah.
One, Fallout 4 was announced today.
Yes.
So check out the trailer. The E3 presser from Bethesda is at 3 a.m. on Sunday the 14th of June. I will be staying up to watch it because that's also Money in the Bank, WWE. So I'll be up anyway. So I'll be live tweeting the presser and seeing whether Dean Ambrose can beat Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a ladder match. And also, last thing before we go for this episode.
I still have a couple of things as well.
Okay, well, you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So, theoretically speaking, this is out on Friday. Hopefully there should be something on the site already as a review of the Wachowskis' new series Sense8, which is due to hit Netflix on Friday. So today, or whenever you're listening to this in the future, it was this Friday that this podcast went out. So check the date on the podcast, and that's what it was. God damn you, internet, for being asynchronous. So yes, that should be out. The review of the Amanda Palmer thing's out, so go and read that and see me gushing about Amanda Palmer, which she loved apparently. So yay for me. Other things, we're no conventioning now until August, so that's all good. just keep an eye out on the site over the next couple of weeks for all the stuff from MCM Comic Con.
There'll be those interviews coming up, as well as more reports from the Games Expo and more game reviews as well. We're doing a game review for a company called Inside the Box, for a game designer from Oxford. They have a chemistry-based game called Molecular, where you have to build chemical components. We'll be doing a playtest of that and a review. And the last thing before we go is, in a world where so many horrible things happen, don't forget that today Japan made Godzilla their official representative for tourism to the country.
Holy shit, really?
God bless you, Japan.
That's awesome.
That's fucking awesome. We love you. That is all for this episode. I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles.
And I'm still here. Yay.
Oh, actually, no, just before we go, because of the title of the show. Big Trouble in Little China. Being remade
Okay, so
with The Rock.
Okay.
No!
So,
Don't do it.
I saw San Andreas, and it was ridiculous, and it was awesome. But The Rock cannot play Jack Burton in a remake of Big Trouble in Little China, not because of his acting chops or anything like that. Because I think actually he's grown as an actor, and I like him as a guy. But it's because Jack Burton was hopelessly outclassed at every turn in Big Trouble in Little China, and there is no scenario you can put The Rock in where you think that guy's going to be outclassed. It just doesn't work. It would be unbelievable for The Rock to be considered outclassed by anything, because he's just kicked the shit out of the San Andreas fault line and done it with a smile.
We'll leave that with Stop It and Tidy Up and the big bad I said no.
But nothing against the idea of the remake, nothing against the idea of The Rock as an actor, but him in the role of someone who can't cope with anything just doesn't seem plausible to me. Yes, that is definitely it for this episode. Wow, we crammed a lot in. Anyway, I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles again.
And I'm still here.
And until next time, take care and be excellent to each other.